What's the biggest compromise I had to make in our relationship? I would just have to say that, thinking about the other person would probably be the most important thing.
At first, I resisted it and he wanted to get a cat. I think I talked about this before. I'm really not into pets.
He gets to control the temperature in the car. And I just make sure that I have a really warm sweater and like earmuffs and a scarf so that I'm comfortable if he needs to crank the air up.
The biggest compromise I've had to make in my marriage is that we live in a beautiful 1921 Craftsman teensy tiny house with no closets. So my crafting efforts have been severely curtailed by this lack of storage.
I don't really feel like, oh, there's just one thing that I used to be able to do that I can't do. Because Meredith lets me do a ton. I mean, I can't sit here and think like, oh, I don't get to watch football on Sunday afternoons, or I don't get to go out with my friends or anything like that. I mean, we really, I think, and Meredith especially with me, I mean, she really wants me to be myself and to have what I want.
When Joe and I first got together and got engaged and talked about like how we envisioned our marriage, I was very much under the impression that we're going to be 50-50, we'll both work, like we'll both take care of stuff around the house, all of the chores will be split up evenly. And then slowly, as we've had kids and things have happened, I've really taken on the role of stay-at-home mom, which also includes everything around the house. And Joe goes to work all day. It's a compromise that at first I couldn't even comprehend, but now that we have kids and time's gone by, I really appreciate the opportunity that I have to stay home with them.
What's the biggest compromise we've had to make during this relationship, that I've had to make during this relationship, really has to do with my upbringing. Like I was raised as an only child, so everything really was about me. But one of the biggest things now that we are on a path to marriage and starting a life as one, my time's not my own anymore, and I have to adapt to that.
The biggest compromise that we've had to make is when we had been married for about 5 years, I would guess, and we were living up in Northern California, and Mandy was pregnant with our second child, and so she had a desire to move closer to her family, to her mom. And we were living by my parents at the time, and I felt like that was a really fair thing to do. So we transplanted our family from Northern California to Southern California and bought a house down here, but left a pretty good income source and kind of started all over.
The biggest compromise I've had to make in this relationship has definitely been my love for electronics and cables and giant speakers all over the place. When we first were moving into the house, we were going to have a living room. We were going to have no electronics in it, no speakers, no power amps, no video games, no TV, no anything. So I designated the back room to be the den. That was going to be where all the electronics were all going to be crammed in there, speakers and everything. And but I've actually wound up enjoying not having all that stuff around me because I'm around a lot of electricity all the time anyways. So I don't really need it to be in my living room. So it's a compromise. It was a hard thing to get used to. Almost as hard as not being able to stay up all night playing Xbox. But I have conquered.